Hi, this is Chris at the Wandering Bull. Today we're going to talk about gun cases and construction, and different tribes had different gun case styles, different decorations applied. So I got 4 examples, and the first one we're going to talk about is this one here. This is a Northern Plains up in the Rocky Mountains style gun case. It's made with reproduction beads. Here's the butt end and the barrel end. Gun slides in from this side. Made of brain tan fringe. These beaded panels are beaded first and then applied to the leather case and then sewn up. And the fringe was sewn when it was inside out, and then probably fringed after it was all constructed. That way when you're trying to construct it, you don't have all that fringe in your way. And unique piece here in the center with this strap that's tied, obviously designed for hanging. This style of gun case would be 1880s, 1890s, up into the early 1920s was a style very similar to this. The style of gun case that I have in front of me, or behind me now, is a Crow style gun case, brain tan, and once again the beaded tab it's beaded first and then applied to once the case is sewn up, and it's got some fancy wool ends, and this particular example has fringe on that barrel end, the butt end, and these red panels of wool it's beaded, and then the red panels are sewn in after the fact. The beadwork is not on top of the red panels. Reproduction beads. This tab is antique tab, 1880s, 1890s. Great beadwork, and you can even see they ran out of that light blue background and changed midstream in the gun case. So a nice example, and brain tan fringe. There's probably a half a deer hide just in the fringe. So it's probably 2 hides, and usually there's a seam here to get the whole case, and then you have that natural bend with the gun. This guy has some pony beaded tabs right off the very end of that. So a fine example of a Crow style gun case, and this example certainly 1880s, 1890s. From this example here is a Cree gun case up into Canada, out in the plains, up into the Rocky Mountains. Brain tan construction, and these pieces here are beaded on the red wool. So you got the 2 tabs. Here's the butt end of that, and it's abstract floral beadwork applied to the red wool. Then the red wool is applied to the brain tan, and it's edge beaded and backed with calico fabric. You can see that binding come around the sides. Little bit of bug damage. You can see how those moths just enjoy that red wool. It's tucked away in the dark. That's when those bugs want to attack that material. But so decorated with white center red beads, some long tubular beads, tufts of wool. There's some more beads, some basket beads and white centers, all the way up to the tab. This has a split tab, so there's 2. And once again, the beadwork is done onto the red wool, and then it's edge beaded, lined, and some dentilium shells with those white center red beads as well. And an abstract, I wouldn't call it floral, but abstract piece of beadwork, once again still applied to that red wool, and then the red wool is backed with that calico fabric. And this gun case, the same thing. It's probably that 1880s, 1890s time period. This is the 4th gun case that we have in this talk, and once again it is Cree style, smoked moose hide, heavily smoked. You can look at the side view on that fringe, the hide is really thick and heavily smoked. The folks way up in Canada, they really heavily smoke their brain tan where you're in a wet environment all the time. So that heavily smoked moose hide helps that hide from not turning stiff again. So, construction. This is a piece of moose hide, and then this is a piece of moose. So it's a two-piece, and here at the seam, they've, once again, nice heavy fringe there, nice heavy fringe here. This beadwork is applied right to the brain tan moose hide. And it's an abstract floral. And then that centerpiece, very unusual. This is referred to as a brick stitch, one bead at a time. And as they do it, it stacks like bricks, like masonry, like a wall. So unusual for this technique, for those folks up there to be using that, in my opinion. They certainly like that abstract floral, the two needle applique stitch. So unusual. And in there are some faceted beads. So that kind of puts, with those faceted beads, an overall age. I would date it 1940s, 1950s. Could go right up into 1960s. The end is treated. There's no tab. There's no tab hanging down. There's not a beaded panel. This style of gun case probably just never had it. Decoration-wise, still have dentilium shells with red faceted beads. And once again, you could date those beads from that 1940s, 1950s time frame. The way they're pressed glass and they came out of Europe with tufts of yarn. So the tufts of yarn are made, they string that lace through from the yarn, through the beads, through the dentilium shell, and into the leather. And the seam on this is on the bottom with a gusset, and it runs from the barrel to here, and then from here to here. The ends has, once again, nice fringe. You can see one side of that fringe is heavily smoked and the other side is not as smoked. So a fine example. So 4 gun cases, a couple of different tribes here involved in the construction of these. So obviously you need to figure out how long your gun is, and you're going to make your pattern and do some research. WanderingBull.com. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram. If you have any questions, you can certainly give us a call at 1-800-430-2855. Thanks for watching.